You're an innovator focused on changing the world. You need a trusted banking partner to supercharge your company at all stages of growth. HSBC Innovation Banking is here to support your need for velocity without volatility. We're led by a dedicated team so you get deep sector expertise without distractions. Banking for innovation doesn't look like it used to. Find out more at innovationbanking.hsbc.
Blog Talk Radio.
I'm your host, Betsey Lewis, and don't you just remember Close Encounters? I do, and that's where the aliens were good. During the 80s, they were benevolent, and through the years, they've become the bad guys. I'm so excited for my special guest, and, you know, lately I've been talking to several people known as starseeds who attract UFOs and orbs, like my very special guest, Chris Bledsoe. His life was transformed in 2007 after losing everything after 9/11. His fantastic paranormal journey can be found in his best-selling book, UFO of God. And I'll tell you, I could not put it down. Amazing book. I loved it. Chris has suffered greatly through naysayers and losses and a debilitating disease. And he's just experienced many, many things. And during his experience in 2007, things changed for him, totally changed. He's been tested at Monroe Institute and by NASA. And in addition to the sightings of UFOs, Chris has filmed over 2,000 orb encounters, seen by witnesses too, and other phenomena has been documented. They include spontaneous healing of debilitating diseases, clouds of fire, a tree burning that burns from inside out, orbs as large as 40 feet in diameter that appear out of nowhere. Chris has been seen on Fox News with Jesse Waters, the Discovery Channel, and the History Channel, Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. Be sure and visit Chris's website at ufoofgod.com. And let me welcome him on here. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Hi, Betsy. I am doing great and honored to be on your show.
I love your accent, that southern accent. I have family that was from Louisiana, so makes me feel at home.
Well, great. I'm glad you can understand it, right?
I can. Well, listen, I loved your book. It was just great, and I felt like I was experiencing everything that you experienced in the book. It was a great way to write it. I mean, I was right there. So tell the listeners why you decided on the title UFO of God.
Well, it's pretty simple and not so simple.
Okay.
This happened, it happened, January the 8th of 2007. So this January will be 17 years. And the whole journey, if you read the book, will show you it started out with fear. It started out the way it originally started was I was really sick, and I was crying out to the heavens, whoever's up there, please help me. I'm 45, 46 years old. I can't feed my children. I'm broke. Lost my business after the 911 thing, and my health had deteriorated. So I was crying out to whoever, whoever's up there, and not being specific, because everything I did didn't seem to work. But I was crying out hard, and then these balls of fire came, which quickly I became in the community after I reported it playing with the devil. I still get ostracized from church and different folks because they believe it's evil, it's demonic, and so on. But I wasn't. I was crying out to God, and these UFOs came. So that's really how the title started. And we just have to read the book to understand why, I ended up there. But
well, it's an amazing story, and I just don't understand these churches. They're so archaic. It's like grow up. There are things out there that we can't explain, and we're not the only beings in this whole universe. Hello, everybody. And to think that everything is evil. Right?
Yeah, right. I couldn't agree more. Why is it that they want to give the devil or Satan or the dark force all the power? Why couldn't it be good? I mean, right? What's the deal here? I don't get it. And I wasn't praying to the devil. I was calling on God. And
right.
So, and let me tell you, if praying to God brings the devil, I need to quit praying. And that's all I can say.
Well, I had a friend. He was a Native American ceremonial leader, and he said to me, "I've never seen the devil, so I don't believe in him." And he says, "I don't think anybody else has." So,
I don't either.
So, no. So, tell us what happened in 2007. It was January, right?
Right. It was a cold January day. It was clear, and I'm going to back up for a little bit.
Okay.
I had just come through in 2005. I sold my business. I was very sick with Crohn's disease, and the economy had crashed. And long story short, I went from living in a nice home with a pool on a golf course for 20 years, a successful builder, to they blew up the World Trade Center, and I'm caught with 70 houses for sale in a military town and nobody buying, and it cleaned me out. So that's the state of mind I was in. And then my disease, Crohn's, got way worse because of the stress, and it got so bad that it caused me to have a near-death experience. And so the doctor said, if you don't sell your company, you're going to die. And so my wife, while I was in the hospital, put it up and actually got a buyer, and we sold it. And here it is, fast forward to 2007. I'm recovering still from this hospital where I was unconscious in the hospital, and really trying to figure out life then. And my dad talked me into taking on a construction job for him to manage it 2 hours out of town, and I did with a group of guys in October of 2006. And by Christmas, we were about done with it. And so January 1st, New Year's, I sent the crew back down to finish up and bring the final money when they were done. And that happened to be the January the 8th of 2007. They finished up that morning and come home and didn't have to go back no more. Been gone 4 months, so they were wanting to celebrate and called me, "Hey, boss, I'm bringing a check. We'd love to celebrate. Can you take us fishing?" Because where they wanted to go, I had the only four-wheel drive truck, and you had to have that to get down in there. And it was down in the river bottom on Old Muddy Cape Fear River. And so about 3 o'clock in the day, 2:30. I picked them up. 3 o'clock, we were pulling up down on the riverbank, and I, being a manager, basically, I wanted to make sure they were all happy. So my son was with me. He was 17. And these 3 crew leaders, they were in their 40s, I guess. And so I made sure they were happy, and they had little sticks with forks sitting there with the rods on it, sitting on the bank, having fun. And it was about 3:30. I said, look, I'm going to walk in the woods and just meditate and look for wildlife. I didn't care to fish. I didn't tell them what I was struggling with. I would never, although I was crying out, thinking I was having terrible thoughts. I thought about dying. I thought about everything. And so that's where my mind was. And I have to say this because that's why the phenomenon, why these big balls of fire came. I walked down in the forest, and I came back out about 4:45, I guess, 4:30. I couldn't see in there because of the canopy, and it was getting dark. It's dark at 5:30 in January. So I got back out to where they were, and I asked them if they wanted to go home. And they're like, no, boss, we just got here. We want to fish some more. So it's going to get cold. Let's get a fire going. So they all laid their poles down, and we walked around this acre. And we were at the end of a wooded road. You drive through the woods alongside the river, and it dead ends in a round cul-de-sac about 1 acre. So we walked around that acre of grass, picking up sticks and limbs, and had a head-high pile of dead wood when I left and a fire going. So I told them it's now about 10 after 5. I said, look, it'll be dark in a minute, so I'm going to run up to the road the way we came in. Before I went down in the cul-de-sac, further into the woods. Now I told them I'm going back up to the field, and that means I got to walk along parallel with the river 1/8 of a mile, and then I'm going to turn west and go up 100 foot of elevation to a flat field, big cornfield. But you can't see it. It's way up the hill. You see the gate at the top. So I left them walking. When I got to the 1/8 of a mile where I turn and walk away from the river, now I'm going west, right? It's starting to get dark, pretty good and dark about that time because I'm under the canopy of the trees. So when I turn to the west, now the light is coming down the path better, and I could see the sky wasn't black. It was still, bluish color. It wasn't dark yet. And when I got near the top of that hill, about 20 or 25 feet from the top, I began to see what I thought was the sun, the top of it on the far side of the field. I still couldn't see the field yet. I've got this gate up above me and quite a bit of elevation. So I looked down. I didn't think nothing of it. I just started watching every step because it's muddy and weeds about 1 foot tall. And I looked up again, and it's getting bigger, and it looked strange. And I thought, well, it's mighty strange. So I looked down, and I took 2 or 3 more steps. And when I did, I noticed the second one. Then I realized it wasn't the sun that I was looking at. There were 2 40-foot, there were 2 40-foot round, flaming red, orange, tangerine orange balls of fire about 300 yards away, and there were a couple hundred feet in the air at the most. And they were just sitting there motionless, but the fire was swirling in a motion around them. It looked like the flames were going clockwise and shooting off these little flames, and they're just sitting there blazing. And they were huge. And I'm a commercial-rated pilot, right? And when I saw that, it frightened me really bad because I knew right away, living around the military and being a pilot, I wasn't seeing something I'm familiar with. And so what I did was I still got elevation, the hill in front of me. I dropped to my knees, so I used the hill to hide myself. And now I'm not seeing them. I'm thinking I'm hid, right? So I crawl on my hands and knees over to the left, and I get in the ditch where these the weeds were much taller. They were what we call cane or reeds around here. It's where low, high water tables, you'll have what's called cane along the river. Well, the ditch was full of that. So I crawled over in it and eased my way up towards the top where I could begin to see them, hiding myself in the ditch and the reeds. And just off the shoulder of the road, right, where it was overgrown, waist-high stuff. And I peeked up, and there they were, and everything in my mind was racing. What in the world could this be? After a few minutes of marveling at it, I began to get scared. I mean, I was definitely afraid, and I worried about my son, him down there, and these things aren't going anywhere. What do they want? I mean, I'm just totally hidden, thinking I'm hidden, right? So I come to the determination to run, and I turn my body downhill. I'm on my knees right in the weeds. So I twist my body to where I'm facing down the hill. My goal is to stand up and sprint down that hill and hope I could not fall in the mud. But I had to look back one more time, Betty. And when I stood up, I looked back as I'm starting to run, and a third one appeared above me and out front. So I'm looking at these two, and now a third one way up above them appears and comes down right beside the other two. Now I got 3 of these 40-foot balls of fire. But the crazy thing was, what changed my life was seeing a UFO is one thing. See a light go by, I mean, that's really cool, and it changes you. But when it stops and it says, hey, I see you, I got you on my radar, this powerful force beyond any comprehension now it sees me. And that's when fear really got me. And I mean to tell you, I knew it saw me. I knew I wasn't hiding from it. It knew right where I was. That realization I can't ever get over. And so I took off running. And when I got to the fire, it was 4 hours later. And my son wasn't there. And there were 3 grown men who were standing by a fire now that's burned down. And they couldn't see me coming out of the darkness. I didn't have a flashlight, but I could see them glowing around the fire, right? And when I got up within 20, 25 feet of them, I spoke. I said, hey, you won't never believe what I just saw. And they looked and saw me, kind of startled them. And the first thing one of them said is, where in the world have you been? I said, what do you mean? I just went up to the field, and there are these 3 UFOs up there. And they're like, man, we've been looking at you all night. Look at your truck. The truck was moved. They'd been in it, going up and down the road. And I said, well, where is Chris Jr.? They said, well, we lost him 2 hours ago. He went back in the cul-de-sac looking for you on foot. While 2 of us drove your car and 1 stayed at the fire for the last 4 hours. And so I ran immediately. I wasn't with them 3 minutes before I took off running, worried about Christopher, because he's in the woods, in this big head of woods that, you get lost for days in there. And so I ran panic, calling out for him. And when I got to the back of the cul-de-sac, the edges are real thick, like all fields. It'll be thick around the edge. And I was trying to work my way into the forest, thinking he was way in there, and I was going to have to look for him. Didn't have a flashlight. I mean, I was panicked. I didn't think. But what had happened with him, he come out from under that thick of stuff. He was laying under it on his stomach, hiding. And when I almost stepped on him, when he stood up and grabbed me, and he just broke down and started crying and said, Daddy, where you been? Why'd you leave me? Why'd you leave me, Daddy? Creatures, they scared me real bad. And this is what he was saying. And so I'm beginning to freak now. My son's in panic. He's in shock. And he's saying things that didn't compute with me, and they're saying things that didn't compute because I've only been gone 20 minutes, right? That's all I could think of. But they've had a terrible 4 hours looking for me, and Junior was pinned down for 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Two red orbs came out of the woods where I went, the direction of where I went. When I was up at the top of the field, they came from down there. Because he in the back of the cul-de-sac could see across the cul-de-sac and the whole eighth of a mile. So he had a quarter-mile view down the road parallel to the river, like you'd see in South Carolina where the trees grow over, a plantation house. He had a long shot with the Cape Fear River along the right side. And so these two red orbs came out of the forest, two balls of light, about the size of a baseball or a grapefruit. And they crossed the path in front of him, and he's like, what was that? He had to go towards it to get to the fire. And he ran up there and told them what he saw, and they were like, don't mess with us. We're already freaked out enough. Don't go scaring us. And they were kidding with him, but still they were all spooked. And so he came back to where he was, and these orbs came back out of the woods, and they came all the way down the road towards him. And when they got within 30 or 40 feet, he realized they could see it. Or 40 yards. He'd started hiding already, backing himself, but they came right on up within 15, 20 feet of him. And when they got that close, he realized he could see there wasn't orbs there. They were the eyes of two little beings about 3 feet tall.
Oh, my goodness.
They looked like, they were glowing red eyes. And when one of them was always looking at him, and he couldn't yell, he couldn't move, he was totally paralyzed. But the other one was rattling around cans and bottles and just studying sticks. He'd pick one up and drop it on the ground. He watched that the whole time he was pinned down there, and it really messed him up for a long time. I mean, words can't tell you how
I
bad
can imagine.
It messed him up.
He must have had nightmares, and you probably had nightmares too.
Oh, yeah, we did. And so I grabbed him and led him by the arm back to where the fire was. And now these three guys are standing there. They're totally freaked out. They've been looking me, and they're hearing me talking about UFOs, and now Junior's talking about creatures. And one of them had seen the red ball of light cross the road, so they were all spooked. And then suddenly, one of the guys yells, "Look!" And we all look up at the sky, beautiful, clear night, and the brightest star, if you look at Venus, is really bright. Well, there were 8 or 9 Venuses all of a sudden appeared, and they just went zooming in around in a circle, and then went out away. It looked like somebody... there was a choreographer there. They came back together, and then 3 of them landed in front of us across the river, about 75 yards across the river. The river's only 60 yards wide. And they were up on the other side on the hill, and they were 40 foot. And now we got 3 white 40-foot glowing orbs across from us, landed, and pandemonium set in. We all freaked out, left everything there, left what fire was still burning, coolers, rods, still in the water. We jumped in the truck and took off out there. And when we got to the top of the hill, there's 3 that took me. One of the 3 took me, but they were still there. So now we got 3 on the ground behind us, 1 on the ground blocking our path. We can't get to the highway. For this setting, the one that took me came to me and then hovered over the road. So we've got to cross a field on a 2-rut dirt road, 200 yards of field. And about 100, 150 yards out is this 40-foot football now. Instead of it being a round, glowing red ball or orange, it looks like an egg on its side, hovering 5 feet off the ground at 150 yards away. And it turns, it pivots towards us and starts down the road towards us. And everybody's freaked out so bad. You can't imagine everything from crying to praying to worried about our children. It's the end of the world. All that was going on with 5 grown men in my truck as this 40-foot egg comes down the road straight at us. And it rose up, Betsy, just about, 60 or 80 feet over my truck when it passed over the sunroof. It was so low I could have shot it with a homemade slingshot. No sounds, make your hair stand up like the static electricity from it. But when it got just behind the truck, which is now at the wood line, we're the back of my truck is we come up out of the woods, so we're in the field now, but the woods are right behind my truck. When that thing got to the wood line, it turned north and fired off like it was out of a cannon. And that was that wasn't the end of it. I mean, there's a lot more, and I don't want to tell too much of the story. We got a lot of questions. But let me tell you, it followed me home. I dropped these guys off, and it was a harrowing ride all the way. And there was some healing along the way that I had. I had lost a wife. My first wife died in a car accident. 11 months and 28 days. We were 2 days from being 1 year anniversary.
Oh, my goodness.
And she died in a dead man's curve. She was driving her car by herself at 9 o'clock at night, heading home, and went around that curve and lost control and flipped end over end and threw her out the windshield. And the car stopped rolling in somebody's front yard. Well, believe it or not, I just so happened to be driving by when I saw the car laying on its side. I had no clue whose car it was because all I could see was the wheels and the bottom side of it as in somebody's front yard. So I slammed on brakes. The wheels were still turning, and even the motor was running. And I jumped out. I had to back up because I was going, pretty good clip. And I stopped, I backed up, I jumped out, and I ran over to the car, and I thought, man, I couldn't see anybody in the car. And the house there, the front door opened, and these people stepped out. They had heard it. I said, have you seen anybody who's driving this car? And they said, no. I said, you better call 911. So on my way back to the road, I stumbled upon my wife, and she died.
Chris, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
What a horrible thing.
Yeah, but here's the cool thing. And now you know why this word God is in this book. Because on the way home dropping these men off, they were dying and crying and, the world's coming to an end. My son was in that state, but they did something to me. When they brought me back, I wasn't afraid anymore. I was marveled at all of it. I was totally connected to it. My brain felt connected to it, which it is today. They did this to me. So as we were driving home, we had to go through that same curve where she was killed. And there happened to be a humongous, it was black, looked like windows on it, but I don't know what it was. It was hard to tell what it was, but it won't but a couple 100 feet above the ground, hovering right over where she died. And I slammed on brakes to stop. I wanted to get out and look up at it. And they were having no part of that. They were demanding that I don't stop. I got down to 15 miles an hour, and they were beating on the dash to go. But as I drove through that spot, it all flashed through my brain, his words saying, you don't need to worry about this anymore. There's no reason for you to feel guilty over her death. Because I felt responsible, and I wasn't.
Oh, I'm sure.
But that burden, after 30 years or 25 years, was lifted off of me that night. And
amazing.
Yeah, so all this is in the book and a whole lot more. And
it is a lot. Let me ask you something, though. Chris, did you ever have any paranormal experiences as a child? You grew up, right, in North Carolina, right?
Right.
So
well,
did you
experience
people? You did? Okay.
But, yeah, when I was 10 years old, Betsy, I had my first real owl experience. I was at little church called Cape Fear Baptist Church, which is on the Cape Fear River, which was less than a half a mile from where I was taken and less than a half a mile from where I was shot. When I was 10 years old, I was shot point blank in the back in a hunting accident, and it blew a hole in my back, left shoulder, the size of an orange. Yeah. And,
Chris.
yeah, I was bleeding to death in the woods, laying on the ground face down with 2 9-year-olds. I was the oldest at 10. And they were crying and fighting who was to get help. And we were in the middle of a farm. The nearest house was a mile away. And a farmer heard us from a long ways away and got in his truck and drove down the field and walked in on the woods and found me laying there and picked me up over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes and took me into this old Ford pickup in a 60-some model and drove me to the hospital while I was bleeding and in his truck with a hole big as an orange in my back, right? At 10 years old, I was a little bitty guy, so imagine how. But long story short, I had an out-of-body experience, seeing Earth from space. It was like I was looking down on Earth as it was getting smaller, and that changed my whole life. Everything about it, the way I thought, the wanting to hunt anymore, mess with guns, it all changed me. But from that point forward, strange things began to happen. I never put much effort in it at all until 2007. That's when it really got crazy.
Well, Chris, when you were taken in 2007, you were having 4 hours. You were gone for 4 hours, and you don't remember anything. But I know you had some hypnosis, some regressive hypnosis. Anything revealed there, or implants put in you, or anything like that you know of?
Well, yeah. What I can tell you about the whole experience was, I would say it was a virtual tour. It was like the whole time seemed much longer than 4 hours. It seemed like days. Their time is different. But it was a virtual tour of many places around the world. I had great memories of seeing the pyramids in Egypt, the Sphinx, and different places around the world that they were showing me and telling me about future events and about an awakening coming, and that they wanted me to tell the world what it was that I experienced. And so when I came home, I was completely 100% driven to tell what it was. It was a good thing. I wanted to tell it. When I got home, I had no more Crohn's disease. I suffered 17 and a half years with it. And that next morning, I had no more sickness. And to this day, I drink, eat anything I want. I never have any problems, digestive problems at all. I mean, but I lived in the toilet for 20 times a day back then or more, where it nearly killed me. So, all that combined, all that created that title on that book.
That's just amazing. A lot of people have had healings from UFOs, and Preston Dennett wrote a book about it, all these people. So there are benevolent beings out there. Do you think there are dark beings out there with a dark agenda for humanity, or do you just think there's some good ones? There are the good and the bad, huh? Just like us.
Absolutely. This world, let me tell you, the Earth is an electrical being. It's alive. This planet is. It's a diode. It creates electricity, and we swim around in it. I mean, we're electrical beings, and it was NASA that first told me, Chris, it's just like a battery on a car. The foundation of this world is is polar opposite of negative and positive, light and dark, yin and yang. Where you got good, you got bad. And so, yeah, there are negative entities out there I don't want to be a part of, or no part of it around me, that are very powerful, but they can't touch you. They don't have the power over us if we ask for protection and live a positive and good life. But when you start messing in the darkness, you can get something you don't want.
Right. Your burning tree that you have, does that just ignite by itself? It reminded me of Moses' burning bush. Do you feel there's some symbology to it?
Yeah, absolutely do. Everybody does. People in the government, scientists that studied it, they were all blown away by it. Many people studied it. MIT did the samples on it and couldn't find any reason for why it caught fire. There were no accelerants or anything. They did their homework on it. But I watched it. My wife and I were watching television. It was, I think, October 13th, and it was 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And it had rained for 2 days, and the grass was still glistening wet because I took my son videoed it. You could see the grass shining when my daughter drives up. But I walked out to the back patio because at that time I smoked cigarettes, and so I walked out and lit up a cigarette, and I looked back behind the house about 75 yards. We had a big piece of property, and it's total darkness, no electricity, no anything out in there. It's just an orchard, a pecan orchard, and I saw sparks come from the side of the tree that looked like the little red sparks you see from a bottle rocket, those little tiny ones you could hold in your hand and throw like kids do. That's what it looked like. And my wife walks by the back door and could see through the door because it's full glass, and she opens the door and says, "What in the world's going on with that tree?" I said, "I don't know, but I see it." And so she steps out on the back patio with me, and immediately it erupts into flames, and it's burning 12 feet high or more up to the top of the tree.
Oh,
so
my
she
gosh.
puts it out. Yeah, I drove a hose pipe all the way out there. Yeah. I put together hose pipes, dug them out, and my wife put the pipe up in the tree. We filmed her doing it. My son did. And the second video is called Putting Out the Burning Tree. And she just doused the whole thing from inside and just drenched it until it was out. 12 o'clock that night, I'm already in bed. I'm tired. I'm dealing with RA then. She walks by the back window, and it's burning again. It lit itself back on fire. And so she gets everybody excited in the house again. Oh, my God, this thing's burning. She goes back out there and puts it out again. Could not sleep. It got her nerves so bad. 3 o'clock in the morning, she goes by the back door, and there it is burning again. So it lit itself on fire 3 times after being put out with a hose. And,
that kind of reminds me of Skinwalker and what they've found out there. There's been like a post that was burned, and they think they've seen these orbs out there. So it kind of reminds me. I know you were out there and met Brandon Fugel, the owner of Skinwalker Ranch. But did you get any feelings about it being out there?
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't there very long, but I was there, and I had no negative feelings whatsoever. Doesn't mean it's not there, but at the time I was there, I didn't feel any negative anything, and saw a couple of unknowns that we couldn't figure out what they were, and I'll probably be back there. Yeah.
Oh, good. Will you take me? I want to go. I've been on the outside of Skinwalker,
Brandon produces both shows, the Beyond Skinwalker and The Secrets. Those are Brandon's shows, and
they're fascinating.
There'll be more to come next year. Let's put it that way.
I believe there's portals all over the world, and maybe your area is a portal too for these beings to come in. So that's really interesting. But one thing I want you to talk about is the Lady of Light, and describe her, how she showed up in your life. She's kind of a Marian type looking, apparition. Do you think she was real? Did she look like a holographic image? And there were these strange beings with her. So talk about that.
Okay, so what brought her, and she made it clear to me. Remember, I told you I felt obsessed with telling what it was I knew because I was healed from Crohn's, because of this 4 hours of missing time, and my life was changed, the pressure of my first wife's death, all that had turned around in me, and I was so, man, I'm telling you, it was like, I guess somebody that who gets high on drugs. I was high on the phenomenon. I mean, I couldn't get enough. I was that. What it did for me was so wonderful. And when I tried to tell the world that it was totally opposite. The church brings holy water. And so the reason for saying that is my children begins to hear from people in the community and churches, members, and they were coming to my house telling my family their dad's dealing with the devil, and they were sprinkling water in my yard, and they even did me one time. Yeah, and so it was causing a problem in my family. It was causing, I felt like someone was trying to rip my family apart, right? And so now the community, Discovery Channel and MUFON comes in 2008, and they made the most horrible mess on Discovery, tried to debunk me. It was all classified back then, and that's what they tried to do. Yeah, and it what it did, it caused me to be a laughing stock. Yeah, now my children go to school, and the school classmates were laughing at them, and their father's crazy, and the teachers would call them up in front of the class and make fun. Mm-hmm. Whether they were doing it intentionally, it did, and it nearly destroyed my children. So 5 years, we're going to fast forward to 2012. After 5 years of dealing with that, and it started the day I come home. And it got worse and worse and worse to where, the whole community was, got where I didn't even want to leave home anymore. I didn't want to be in the public because, everybody was pointing fingers and making fun. And my kids felt isolated. And they were seeing the phenomenon with me. It came home with me. My wife was experiencing it. But she was trying to avoid it, because she was having to live in two worlds and protect her children. So, long story short, when my little girl come home crying one day, and the teacher called her out in front of class, and everybody laughed at her, it was Easter of 2012. I walked outside at 9 o'clock that night, Saturday night, and I had enough. I wasn't going to ever talk about the phenomenon again, even though I was driven to. So I walked out and I shouted to the sky, I'm tired of you. Why did you come and take me on the river and heal me, only to make me out to be the worst laughingstock in history, ruining my family and my children's lives? My boys are 15 and 16 and 17 trying to date girls, and now they're totally withdrawn. And I'm blaming the phenomenon bad. I'm shouting, I'm that mad. And I'm like, we see you, I see you, but you'll never let me take a picture. I can't even share a photo or a video with a friend or my mom and dad. Yet, and it would always show up and disappear when I grab my camera. It's just that good at it. And so I'm venting all this stuff that night. And I went in and I went to bed at 9 o'clock. I was so distraught. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, it was exactly 3, because back then we had those little alarm clocks that set on your nightstand, right? Instead of your cell phone anymore. And I heard this manly, thunderous voice. It was so loud that I came up in shock from laying down flat asleep to sitting up in my bed in the room and it's totally dark because this thunderous voice said, "Arise," just like that. And I noticed these shadowy figures. They're always shadowy beings. They look more like a ghost than anything when you see them. People say, "Oh, shadow figures, they're the devil." Well, no, they're not. Come on with that. Until you understand, I get tired of giving the devil all the power. These could be your loved ones that died. Your grandma might be coming to comfort. Yeah, you can never tell.
That's right.
I felt like I was being pulled, and I was, and that I didn't have much decision or choice. I got up and I got dressed and I walked out the back door and was led by these figures to the dog kennel, which is in the book. You'll read about it where a really big event happened there, and more than one. And on the way, this shadowy figure stops and turns at me. I'm following, and he reaches out and hands me this, what looked like a Tic Tac, like a 3 or 4 pound pack of hamburger that's shaped like a peel, where it's twisted up on each end, processed hamburger. But it was shaped just like that. But yet it felt like a creature, like a living animal, like a squirrel or a little dog that had no legs or no head. It was furry. It felt alive. It felt like it was moving and breathing. It was in my hands, and it pricked me almost like a hedgehog, prickly when you feel it. So all that happened in my thoughts within 1 second or 2 seconds of him handing it to me. And I dropped it. When I dropped it on the ground, this voice said, "No, you must keep this. Pick it up." So I leaned over to pick it up, and when I did, they weren't there. They were gone. So I'm at the dog kennel now, and I'm juggling this, wondering what in the world this thing is, and it'll be fine till I get back in the morning. So I opened the dog kennel, and I set it inside an empty kennel. My dad raised dogs. He still has the big kennels out there. Big, enclosed, roofs, lights, and all. So I opened the kennel, I set it on the floor and closed the door, and when I stood up and took a couple of steps backwards, a wind, very strong, focused, hyper-focused blast of wind came out of the forest. It wasn't the trees moving, it wasn't the wind, this came out of a hole, like a 12-foot diameter black hole opened up in front of me. And the tree, this big oak tree, just part of it disappeared. As the wind come out of that hole, blew me over on my back. As I'm looking up, this cow runs over top of me, translucent. As crazy as all this sounds, trust me, the Vatican and NASA and the U.S. government took very serious note about this. And they've all investigated me, and still, to this day, everybody, even the Pentagon wanted to know what the lady said. So I had to put it in writing and send it to them, to generals and Air Force generals, a couple of them.
Tell us what you said. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I hit my back. I land on my back, and I see this translucent cow, huge thing, but I could see through it. I could see the stars as it went over me. It didn't hurt me. The wind is what blew me backwards. But I'm quick on my reflex. When I land on my back, I roll to my stomach. Now I'm looking the opposite direction, and I'm trying to roll over and get up all in 1 second to run. I didn't know where this cow went. But I never got to my knees good. When I pushed myself up and I looked forward, there was no more cow. There, about 6 foot away from me, was this most beautiful lady that looked as solid as we do. She didn't look like a ghost. She didn't look like a hologram. She looked 100% like a human being, but far beautiful, more than anything I'd seen. She was hovering about 3 feet off the ground. Her feet were at my chin high. So I'm on my knees with my rear end on the back of my legs. So I'm sitting on my knees. And she's 6 foot from me, and her feet about my chin high. And she's not very tall, 4.5 feet tall, I'd guess at the most. She looked tall because her feet's in the air. But she just kind of looked at me. And now, keep in mind, I'd just gone through the most powerful experience from this wind to this raging cow ran me over. So I had this greatest shock of power. Oh, my God, fear, power, all in 1 second to now. That subsided immediately into this most beautiful woman that so the whole experience went from power to beauty to angelic, you might say. And she leaned towards me and she said, "You know why I'm here." And I knew exactly what she was saying because I had basically made a promise to these beings in '07 when they took me that I would share this to the world. Part of the 4 hours I was gone, they did something to me, Betsy. They did something to my brain, I believe. And the History Channel is studying that. The Monroe Institute is studying it, and we're going to do a lot more studying this year. They did something to me and changed my life. So I was feeling, I had to tell it. And this lady said, "You got to tell what you know. This is your burden that you have to bear." And she said it just like that. She said, "And you have to do this. And if you do, I will be here with you to tell everyone. And not only that, I'm going to help you now be able to take pictures and share our presence with others." So let me tell you, she left me. She just vanished right there after she said a few more things. She just vanished. I was so...
Sorry to interrupt you, but would you talk about what she said about the red star of Regulus? Because I think that's really important.
So one of the things she told me...
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you can say it, but I can tell you. One of the things she told me was, after telling me about future events that was going to unfold, that would be troubling times ahead. Trials and tribulations, she said. But when the red star, or she said when the star of Regulus, I don't know what Regulus is. And, I know nothing about any of that. But she just told me, when the star of Regulus appears on the horizon in front of the Sphinx, before the sun rises, in other words, when it's dead in line with its eyesight, arising in the morning before the sun comes up, at that point there'll be a new knowledge that will come to this planet, a new knowledge. That's what she told me. And what does that mean? That I don't know.
Has anybody that knows anything about Regulus know when it's going to align with the Sphinx?
Yes.
When would that be? What year would that be?
Well, I had no clue. I just gave that alignment, and just so happened a very good friend of mine, Lisa Hagen, lives up in Virginia. She's a literary agent, and I told her about it because we were working on a manuscript then, and I said, "Lisa, you won't believe this alignment." And she's like, "Well, let me do some checking." She has a book she's published with astrologers, authors. So she called one or two of them, and they actually went on some kind of machine and ran the alignment, and sure enough, at Easter of 2026, that alignment does happen.
My goodness. So what's going to happen? Oh, my gosh. Are we in for a ride of our lives or something?
Well, I think we're riding it now. And it's liable to get worse before it gets better.
I agree. And I was watching one of these, paranormal shows, and a guy in Louisiana was outside, and he watched these orbs. There were the black ones and the white ones. and he said the black ones were attacking the white ones, and he said, I know there's a spiritual war going on, and I think there is.
Yeah.
Don't you feel that? There really is, with humans, with maybe the ETs or whatever they are. You know, there is a great big war going on.
Well, I agree. And, you know, some call them ETs. I call them demons, angels and demons. If there are ETs, they very well could be. You know, that's not something I'm very experienced with. I would imagine there are. But in the spiritual world, we got to realize these orbs are spirits. It's spiritual. It's not physical. They come out of thin air. They're spirits. Hence, spiritual relationship. So you would be talking demonic beings and angelic beings, and you know, we don't know what that means. All we know is we've read about it, and the old timers put it on paper and called it this. But we got a lot of studying to do to figure out the details, more details. But
we do.
I still believe it's good versus evil, right?
Oh, I believe so too.
Good and evil, and then aliens.
Can you talk about the orb that dropped all these metallic pieces that you collected, and you gave it to Lou Elizondo, and what happened with that? Well, I think it's really ruthless of what he did to you. So that really upsets me that he did that. Can you talk about it?
Well, it doesn't. Oh, Lou didn't do anything that bothered me at all. I offered
he didn't
to
give
help
it back.
Lou.
Well,
it's
yeah,
okay.
but he didn't give back.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't him. It was the U.S. military. And basically, it was Tom, not Lou, that told me we had to chalk one up for humanity, that they weren't going to give it back, that it was complex and it was classified. But it was just little droppings of metal, these orbs, and the government knows it. They've got videos of them in Iraq. I've seen them, orbs hovering a couple 100 yards away, and they got night vision cameras on them, and they're sitting there dripping molten metal.
Yeah.
It's not,
what is
not
that?
New to them.
No, and why? You know, we'll never know what it is or what they're doing. You know, the government won't let us know. The military won't let us know. It's all classified.
Well, I can tell you this. Yeah, but I can tell you this. Our government done some good things with some of that stuff as far as medical research, because I've been a part of it. And I can't say a whole lot there, but I think it was given to us. I think that the phenomenon doesn't crash at all, and that it helps us evolve. It helps our brain evolve. It helps our humanity evolve, and they give us stuff as gifts and for specific reasons. I just can say there's some miracle stuff made with that for medical reasons.
Oh, really? That's good to know.
Spinal, yes. Bone implants, spinal implants, allografts, all kinds of things that they're doing, experimenting with that technology.
I think people are so distrustful of the government right now, the military. You know, they keep so much from us. You know, the UAPs and everything that they've discovered. I mean, we're grown-ups. We know, we can handle it. You know, little green men or whatever. We can take it. So, you know, that bothers me. This has gone on long enough. It's not worth the world.
A lot of people agree on that, but you got to look at their side too. They're worried about national security, and if they do have something, cutting technology that they're going to own. Government owns all technology. All the technology is owned by the government. You have to apply for patents to have any kind of that approval, and then if you don't renew it, you don't own it anymore, but the government owns it. So,
yeah.
They look after their own people in that respect.
Well, Chris, we've run out of time, but you know, what do you see for our world? Do you see these beings, these sentient beings helping us, because our world is so out of balance right now. I've never seen anything that's like it. We need some help, big help, quick.
Well, it's my belief that that they're going to wake us all up. I'm not new to this. You can hear me say this on many occasions, and I've told government officials this, that the phenomenon is going to wake up the population. They're going to let us know they're real. They're going to start appearing. And I predicted this in 2019. I didn't predict it. I just told what I was told. And some of the things I said, I did on 10 podcasts that year. I predicted COVID, that there was trouble to come, to lock your doors, to store up. And sure enough, here come COVID in 2020. But I hadn't spoken for 8 years, Betsy. And then on Easter of 2019, an orb comes out of the sky. It was a being. It was a very tall, translucent figure, 25 feet away. I filmed this event for 18 minutes. It was there a half an hour, but it told me to go now and warn the people trouble's coming. That was Easter of 2019. So I came out of hiding and did 10 podcasts in a row, and then went out to San Francisco and did one there, a live event. When I came home from San Francisco, COVID hit. That was a pretty awakening. But anyway, I'll be glad. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Is there a movie coming out about your life story? I mean, there needs to be.
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about that, but let's just say there is something going on that was liable to be a really big deal before it's over with. But just can't say.
Awesome. Well, I understand. But, Chris, thank you for joining my show. It was an honor to have you on here and talk to everyone. And, I'm praying for you. I know you've had a lot of health issues with RA and a lot of pain. I know about pain. I've had it, too. Maybe you can send some orbs my way to heal me, too.
I will definitely keep you in thought and prayer.
Thank you. Well, I'll keep you in my prayers too, and keep up the great work. Don't let anybody, discourage you. You're doing your mission, and that's what they want. There's a lot of people awakening now, and they're getting the message too. So thank you so much. And do you want to give out your information and how people can reach you, or your book and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. The books for sale on Amazon or wherever books are sold, but if you go to my website, UFOofGod.com, there is a link that you can buy it off of Amazon there, but there's also a lot more stuff there you can read from testimonials, and we're also doing a giveaway on some hardback signed copies, and if you join that, if you put your information in the little box there, it enters you in to get a signed free copy of a hardback. So we're working on that. There'll be an announcement of where we're going to be traveling to. I'll be in Phoenix in January. I'll be in Salt Lake in November. I'll be at Monroe Institute in November, and I'm all over the place, and so we're going to start posting some of this on that website. But UFOofGod.com.
Oh, great. Well, why don't you come to Idaho? We have UFOs up here, too.
I want to. In fact, I put the word out that my whole mission for the last 5 years, and everybody around me knows it, that I'm being called to go out in the West, in that area of Utah, Arizona, the Four Corners area, somewhere in there in Hunt. I believe that I'll be able to get the lady on camera. I think she's great. That.
Oh, well, that would be awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, if you're in Salt Lake, come on up to Idaho. You're welcome.
That's some beautiful country up there. I would sure love.
It is. Yeah. I had my own experiences too, so I can relate to
sure
some of the things you've had. Well, thank you again, Chris, and let's keep in touch. Thank you so much, and bless you
same
for
here,
everything you're doing.
Maybe we'll come back on if you'll have me later on at some point.
Oh, I'd love to.
I'd be glad to.
Of course. Okay, great. Yeah. Take care and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Betsy.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Don't just wish for epic adventures. Unlock the excitement of conquering the outdoors with a new Jeep from Dave Smith Motors. Get an all-new 2023 Jeep Wrangler Sport 4x4, starting at just $38,495. That's over $8,000 off MSRP. Come see why people travel from over 40 states to save big in scenic Kellogg, Idaho. Visit DaveSmith.com to lock in your low, low, low price today. Hurry, these offers expire November 30th, 2024. Dave Smith Motors, where dreams drive home.
With the cold weather incoming, what's the obvious choice for a backyard upgrade? Hint, it's a Solo Stove. Solo Stoves are smokeless, and that's not blowing smoke. With a patented design with signature 360-degree airflow technology to feed the flames and burn off smoke before it gets into your hair or clothes. Create the perfect atmosphere this fall. With over 222,000 five-star reviews, Solo Stove is the ultimate fire pit. Just ask Snoop Dogg. With countless sizes, there's a Solo Stove for every backyard. From tabletop fire pits to pizza ovens and even fire pits designed to sit 8+ people, there's something for everyone. With a lifetime warranty, enjoy the comfort of your 100% stainless steel fire pit without the worry of it breaking. Solo Stoves are built to last, not just for the season, but forever. Get yours now at solostove.com.